guys, Sarah here with Taco Jeep Adventures. Today I'm going to be installing the AEV Snorkel kit with my husband Nick. This is my 2014 Jeep JK. It has the 3.6 liter V6. This is the same kit that will be used for the 3.8. There's a couple differences in the airbox, but for the most part it's the same, and I'll show you the differences while I read you the directions. These are the tools that are going to be needed for you guys to complete this job on your own. I will go over siliconing the airbox, why I got a snorkel, and also the AEV pre-filter option. So here's all my tools set out. This is what came in the kit. We got our mounting brackets and bolts. We got the trim ring. We got rivets, the hose clamp, and this slips onto the antenna so that it doesn't rattle and make noise when it's hitting your snorkel. It looks like the first step gets right into it. We're going to be cutting into the Jeep hood for step 1. So it comes with a template. We're going to be measuring 23 millimeters from this little bump from the hood latch. I'm going to get this taped up here. We're going to use our punch to punch right into these plus signs here. And then we can get to using the hole saw and cutting the hole in the hood.
Hey guys, I'm jumping in here. We got a lot to cover here before we got company coming. So basically measured from this body line, right? So I think it's helpful to kind of apply tape here right to the very edge of the body line as shown here, right? And basically what you want to do is measure that 23 millimeters out. And as you can see under here, I didn't want to cover it up. Hopefully you can see that. Kind of made 2 reference points. That way you have a little bit more to aim at, right? And so basically put that underneath this template to kind of start. Then you want to line up, you know, to the edge of the hood, the body line here. And I'm working my way, you know, taping the outside before I do the center punch on either spot, and then we can take all this off, and then we're just going to be working off of that. But before taping this last spot down, I wanted to show you that's a good way to kind of have a good reference point there on the end. So we are going to get right on the center of this crosshair, and I usually do, there's the reset, a couple of those, 1, 2. Hey guys, so quickly here, we just worked our way up by bit sizes, like, right, in small increments. You don't want to make too large of a jumps because sometimes, from my experience, it will try to walk on you a little. We've gone up to 1/4 inch. The directions require that you go through. There's actually, on the back side here, you got to go all the way through the hood with the pilot bit before using the hole saw. So we've done that. Now we're going to use the hole saw. See?
And this is a 1 3/4 inch hole saw.
And on this, you just want to go nice and easy. I'm not sitting here putting a bunch of pressure. I'm letting the tool do the work.
Alright, so we ended up propping the hood up with this wheel chock to get it away so we're not drilling into important stuff down there. We put the template back up after we drilled the holes so that we could get the proper lines across here, so that when we use the cutoff disc, we're not, you know, we get a nice straight line. So now Nick is over here. He's gonna get the cutoff wheel and we're gonna start cutting. So after fully cutting through the front portion of the hood and part of the back, what we needed to do was we lifted the hood all the way up so that we could access the inner portion. So from this little bend in the hood here, it's a 1/4 inch out that we have to cut off. So this whole part here has to come off next. So after the hole is all finished being cut out, we need to check fitment of the snorkel to make sure that we don't need to trim anything else. I'm going to be removing the air box and putting the brackets on the snorkel so we can get it mounted up and make sure the hood closes. So to remove the air box, we're first going to take these 2 bolts out here above the radiator with a 10mm wrench. Next, I'm going to pull down all the 4 clips that hold the top of the air box on. I'm going to loosen this clamp with the flathead, and then we can pull the top of the air box up and remove the air filter. And then to pull the air box out, it's just held in by a couple little clips at the bottom, so we're just going to pull straight up and hope it comes out. Using the T40 Torx bit, we're going to remove these top 2 bolts off of the towel. Then we also need to remove this bolt and this bolt with a 10mm wrench. All right, now we're going to be installing the brackets onto the snorkel. These are going to be the 4mm hex head bolts, followed by a lock washer, followed by the flat washer. And this bracket has them diagonally versus this one is just straight, so it's easy to tell which one goes where. And the third bracket, you'll see it follows the groove right here on the snorkel, so there's only one way it's going to go. Once the hood closes with the snorkel in place, you can sand down all the rough edges. The hood closes and latches. We had to do a little bit of bending on the underneath layer, but it does just fit. And that will go on and make it look all nice. For the 3.6 liter engine, you'll have to drill out the 2 rivets that hold the snorkel to the air box.
Okay guys, when you drill these out, they're gonna spin in place. Yeah, I don't think there's any way around that, so don't be shy. You're gonna have to kind of get in there and work that bit around. It's gonna eat this up a little, but yeah, the rivets, they're just gonna spin in place. So yeah, don't be shy.
Now you should be able to take off that snorkel.
Yep. I've not done this before, so I'm not really sure. I'm assuming it's just
yep. There you go.
So that's literally all that was holding it.
So for those with the 3.8 liter, apparently all you have to do is squeeze that factory snorkel and it just pops right out. So that's much easier.
Yeah, the 3.6 models are the ones that are going to have the rivets attached.
All right, so I had to wait to get one of my neighbor's rivet guns because we don't have one. So I got it, and what we did now is we put the air box onto the end of the snorkel, drilled with the 5/32 drill bit into the snorkel. There was actually 2 little divots where we needed to drill, and then we connected the snorkel to the air box with these rivets. So the difference between the 3.6 and the 3.8 in this step is that you don't have to do this. The end of the snorkel will just clip into the air box. Super easy. So now what I need to do is I need to use this silicone and seal the outside of the air box where the snorkel enters so that dust and water don't enter my engine. Well, Nick left the top to the silicone off, so all the silicone dried in it, so I got to squeeze it and squish it in with my fingers. But it's all sealed up nice. I know it's probably hard to see, but I looked from the other side, I don't see any holes, so I think it's time to put this in. After securing the snorkel into place, we held up the trim ring and marked the holes we needed to drill out with a marker. Then we used the punch to make the divots in the metal. We used a 1/16 inch drill bit to make all the pilot holes and then followed up with the final 1/8 inch bit. So the final step of this project is putting on our trim here. I painted all the rough edges where there was exposed paint.
Go for it, honey.
And now it's time to rivet it on.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You're gonna have to.
There we go.
Yep. All right, give it one more hard press. Go for it. There it goes. Perfect. Here's the next one. All right, we're gonna go ahead and finish this up.
So, change of scenery. We had a pretty busy night last night. Our neighbor was over, kind of distracting us, and my parents were on their way for dinner, so we had to just finish up real quick. I wanted to start off by showing the fitment of the snorkel in here. So, after we got the air box tightened down, I put the air box top back together, the filter back in, I tightened the clamp and the two 10mm bolts, and you can see it just fits in there real nice. A nice little spot for the antenna. I put the little rubber tube. You can see where it attaches up on the two upper bolts from the cowl. And here it is with the hood closed. So you may be wondering, why did I get a snorkel? Well, my husband actually got this for me as a surprise gift for Christmas. I'm not one to install mods that aren't totally necessary, so this wasn't even something I was considering, but you know, looking into it, we live in the desert, it's really dusty here, and I think the biggest thing for me is to get the coolest, cleanest air into my engine, and hopefully not be changing my air filter as often. And speaking of the dust in the air, AEV does make a pre-filter for their snorkel kit. I may consider getting it. It seems like it would be a great idea, as it'll catch a lot of that extra dust out of the air and you can easily dump it out and clean it as you need to. Another reason that you might get a snorkel is to prevent water from getting into your engine. I don't do a whole lot of water crossings. I mean, it's definitely possible sometimes the washes out here get pretty full and you don't always know exactly how deep it is, so you know, it's nice to have that extra security when going through water to not worry so much about hydrolocking your engine. So if you do plan to do a lot of water crossings, the kit does recommend that you can silicone the drain holes in the bottom of your airbox. I am not doing this. I don't plan to go through a lot of water crossings, and if for the occasional reason that a little bit of water does get into the airbox, I want it to be able to drain out. And as usual, I hope this video was helpful. Hopefully, we can get through our next couple of Christmas mods and be back on the trails for another adventure. Take care, guys.